I never imagined life could change so drastically in a single day. 12 years ago, I came home to find my wife gone, our savings drained, and a note that simply read, "I never wanted to be a mom." Left with our 3-year-old daughter and 5-year-old son, I faced a choice: crumble or stand tall for my children. What followed was a journey through heartbreak, sacrifice, and eventually unexpected joy. Let me know where you are watching from, and hit subscribe to hear how I went from abandoned husband to proud father, and the shocking return of my ex demanding half of everything. I met Amanda during sophomore year of college. She sat 2 rows ahead in our economics class, always asking the sharpest questions. Her intelligence drew me in immediately. With her flowing auburn hair and confident smile, I spent 3 weeks gathering courage to ask her for coffee. When she said yes, I felt like the luckiest guy on campus. We dated through college, becoming inseparable. Amanda was ambitious and driven, always talking about her dreams of traveling the world and climbing the corporate ladder. I supported those dreams wholeheartedly. After graduation, with our diplomas still fresh in hand, I proposed on a small rowboat in the middle of Lake Michigan. When she said yes, my entire future clicked into place. We married young, both 24, perhaps too young in hindsight. The first 2 years were blissful. We rented a small apartment, worked entry-level jobs, and spent weekends exploring hiking trails or trying new restaurants. Kids were always part of my plan, but Amanda seemed hesitant whenever I brought up the topic. One night over dinner, I broached the subject again. Amanda put down her fork and looked me straight in the eyes. I can still remember her exact words. "I am not sure I am meant to be a mother, Archer. My career is just taking off." We discussed it for months. I promised to be an equal partner, to take on night feedings and diaper changes. Eventually she agreed, though, looking back, I wonder if she only did so to make me happy. When Amanda got pregnant with Lily, she tried to seem excited, decorating the nursery and attending birthing classes. But there was always something reserved in her enthusiasm. I chalked it up to normal pregnancy anxiety. After Lily was born, Amanda struggled. The doctors called it postpartum depression. She went through the motions of motherhood but seemed detached, often staring out the window for hours. I picked up the slack, coming home from work to take Lily so Amanda could rest. Despite the challenges, Amanda eventually seemed to adjust. She even suggested trying for a second child when Lily was 2, which surprised me. 9 months later, Max joined our family. While Amanda never transformed into the stereotypical doting mother, she handled the daily routines. I believed we were making it work. I took on extra shifts at the construction management company where I worked, often leaving before sunrise and returning after the kids were asleep. We needed the money, and in my mind I was being the provider my family needed. Now I realize I missed crucial signs that Amanda was drowning. The day everything changed seemed ordinary at first. It was our 8th anniversary, a Tuesday in April. I managed to leave work early, stopping to buy flowers and a small jewelry box containing a sapphire necklace that had caught my eye months earlier. I was excited to surprise Amanda, imagining her face when I walked in, hours before expected. The house was oddly quiet when I arrived. Usually there would be the sound of cartoons or Lily practicing her ABC song. Instead, I heard faint crying. Rushing inside, I found both kids in the living room. Lily, only 5 years old, was trying to comfort a sobbing Max who needed a diaper change. "Where is Mommy?" I asked, my heart already racing. "She went bye-bye with her bag," Lily said simply. I checked our bedroom and found Amanda's closet half empty. Her suitcase was gone, along with most of her jewelry. On the kitchen table sat a handwritten note on our grocery list notepad. "I never wanted to be a mom. I am leaving with Jeff from my yoga class. Do not try to find me." I signed divorce papers and left them on the desk. My legs gave out. I collapsed into a kitchen chair, reading the note over and over, unable to process the words. Jeff was her yoga instructor, a man she had mentioned only casually. How long had this been happening? How had I missed it? With shaking hands, I called my parents, who lived 40 minutes away. Then I sat on the floor with my children, holding them close while trying to hide my tears. Lily kept asking when Mommy would be back for bedtime stories. I had no answer. The following days passed in a blur. I took emergency family leave from work. My parents moved in temporarily to help with the kids while I met with a lawyer and tried to make sense of what had happened. The divorce papers were indeed on the desk, prepared without my knowledge. I also discovered Amanda had emptied our joint savings account 3 days earlier, taking all $30,000 we had saved for the kids' college funds and home repairs. The lawyer tracked Amanda to Mexico, where she and Jeff had apparently fled. She had left the country, left her children, without even saying goodbye. The betrayal cut deeper than I ever thought possible. The first night alone with the children after my parents returned home was the hardest. After finally getting them to sleep, I sat on my bedroom floor and sobbed until my throat was raw. How would I raise 2 small children alone? How would I work? How would I explain to them that their mother had abandoned them? That first year tested me beyond anything I could have imagined. I had to completely reorganize my life around childcare. My boss, thankfully understanding, allowed me to shift my schedule to accommodate school drop-offs and pickups. I took a pay cut to work fewer hours, which strained our already precarious finances. Simple tasks became monumental challenges. I had to learn to braid Lily's hair for school pictures, figure out how to cook more than the 3 basic meals in my repertoire, and navigate parent-teacher conferences alone, feeling the stares of the mostly female group of parents. The children suffered emotionally. Lily developed night terrors, waking up screaming for her mother. Max became clingy, panicking if I moved out of his sight even to use the bathroom. The pediatrician recommended therapy for both kids, an additional expense we could barely afford. With our savings gone and my reduced income, financial pressure mounted quickly. 3 months after Amanda left, I made the difficult decision to sell our small house and move to a 2-bedroom apartment in a less desirable school district. We sold furniture, my collection of vintage vinyl records, and anything else that wasn't essential. Dinner became rice and beans some nights. I learned to cut the kids' hair myself. Christmas that year was sparse, with just 1 small gift each, though I tried to compensate with homemade decorations and cookies. Perhaps hardest of all were the judgmental comments. The suspicious looks from school administrators when I showed up for Lily's kindergarten registration alone. The awkward questions from other parents at the playground. The assumption that as a single father I must be incompetent, or that I must have done something terrible to drive Amanda away. Every night Lily would ask the same heartbreaking question. When is Mommy coming home? I never knew what to say. By the 2nd year we had established new routines. I was promoted to project manager, which came with more responsibility but also more flexible hours. I could now work some days from home when the kids were sick or had school holidays. I learned to make holidays special in our own way. We started new family traditions like Sunday morning pancakes where the kids could request any shape or add in, no matter how ridiculous. We began camping in the backyard of my parents' house during summer weekends, making shadow puppets against the tent walls. Therapy helped the children process their feelings. Max stopped having panic attacks when I left the room. Lily began making friends at her new school. Slowly, painfully, we adjusted to our new normal. Amanda remained completely absent. No phone calls on birthdays. No Christmas cards. No child support payments. When she failed to appear for our court date, the judge granted me full permanent custody, calling her abandonment one of the most clear-cut cases he had seen in 30 years on the bench. I started taking online classes at night after the kids were asleep, working toward a business degree that would help me advance further at work. Many nights I fell asleep at the kitchen table over my laptop, waking just in time to get the kids ready for school. The middle years brought new challenges. Lily entered middle school and thrived academically, joining the science club and showing a talent for mathematics that made me incredibly proud. Max, however, struggled with reading. After several frustrating parent-teacher conferences, we finally got him tested and discovered he had dyslexia. Getting him proper support became my mission, fighting with the school district for accommodations and spending hours researching specialized teaching methods. I attempted dating a few times during these years. There was Sarah, a kind kindergarten teacher who Max adored but who ultimately couldn't handle the reality that my children would always come first. Then Jessica, who suggested after 3 months that perhaps the kids would be better off spending more time with my parents so we could have weekends away. That relationship ended immediately. Through careful budgeting and a series of small promotions, I managed to rebuild our savings. We started taking an annual family camping trip to the Wisconsin Dells, 3 days of swimming and hiking that became the highlight of each summer. By the 6th year, the children stopped asking about their mother entirely. Her name became taboo in our household, not by my decree, but by unspoken mutual agreement. I kept a single photo of Amanda in each of their rooms, feeling they deserved to know what she looked like, but they rarely looked at them. My determination at work paid off with steady advancement. By year 8, I was heading my own division, managing construction projects for commercial buildings across 3 states. The income allowed us to move to a better apartment in a neighborhood with excellent schools. Max got the specialized tutoring he needed, and Lily joined a competitive math team that traveled to regional championships. Through all the challenges, we grew stronger as a family unit. The 3 of us developed inside jokes, secret handshakes, and a shorthand language that only we understood. What had been broken had formed into something new and precious. The most recent years brought new joys and challenges as the children entered their teen years. Lily, now 15, became interested in debate club and environmental activism. Max, at 12, discovered a talent for digital art, creating impressive animations on the second-hand computer we had saved for months to buy him. Their maturity and understanding of our family situation impressed me daily. They never complained about having less than their friends. They understood when I had to miss an occasional school event due to work. They had developed a resilience that, while I wish they never had to acquire, would serve them well throughout life. My business success continued to grow. After completing my degree, I was promoted to regional director with a significant salary increase. For the first time, we had financial breathing room. We began discussing buying a house, something I had thought might never be possible again. Then I noticed the children becoming secretive. They would stop talking when I entered a room, or I would catch them whispering together on the couch. Lily started coming home later than usual, claiming study sessions. Max would quickly switch screens on his computer when I walked by. Naturally, I worried. Were they in trouble? Was Lily dating someone inappropriate? Had Max found questionable content online? I tried to casually investigate, but they masterfully deflected my questions. Eventually, I discovered the truth. Lily had been working weekend shifts at a local coffee shop for nearly a year. Max had been selling his digital art commissions online with the help of my parents, who managed the financial aspect since he was too young for a payment account. When I confronted them, expecting to be upset about the secrecy, I was instead overwhelmed with pride. They had been saving every dollar, combining their earnings with excellent grades to qualify for a matched savings program through a local community bank. These remarkable children, despite all they had endured, were thriving. They maintained exceptional grades. They had developed healthy friendships, and somehow they had developed a level of thoughtfulness that many adults never achieve. The mystery began on a Saturday morning in April, almost exactly 12 years after Amanda left. Lily and Max asked me to clear my schedule for the day, insisting they had a surprise planned. "Do I need to dress up?" I asked, completely clueless about what they had in mind. "Just comfortable clothes," Lily said with a secretive smile. "And bring a jacket. We might be out for a while." After breakfast, they led me to the car, Max dramatically producing a blindfold. Seriously, I laughed. "Is this necessary?" "Absolutely essential," he insisted with the authority only a 12-year-old can muster. I relented, allowing Lily, who had recently gotten her learner's permit to drive under my blindfolded supervision with Max, providing enthusiastic navigation from the back seat. We drove for what felt like 30 minutes, making numerous turns that thoroughly disoriented me. When we finally stopped, I heard car doors opening and excited whispers. Max took my hand and carefully guided me out, while Lily reminded me not to peek. "Okay, stand right here," Lily instructed, positioning me carefully. I felt the spring sun on my face and heard birds singing nearby. We were definitely outdoors, but the ground beneath my feet felt like a paved driveway. "Ready?" Max asked, his voice quivering with excitement. "Ready," I confirmed. The blindfold came off, and I blinked in the sudden brightness. Before me stood a modest but beautiful 2-story house with navy blue shutters and a wraparound porch. A mature maple tree graced the front yard, and flowering bushes lined the walkway. I stared in confusion, turning to the kids. "Whose house is this, Lily?" And Max exchanged glances, both grinning widely. "It's yours, Dad," Lily said softly. "Well, ours. We made the down payment." I stood frozen, unable to process her words. Max gently pressed a key into my palm. "You always said you wanted a house with a porch swing," he added, pointing to the wooden swing hanging at the far end of the porch. My legs weakened. "I am not sure I understand." They explained how they had saved for years, combining their earnings with excellent grades to qualify for a match savings program through a local community bank. My parents had helped too, contributing what they could and co-signing since the children were minors. Lily handed me an envelope containing a handwritten letter that explained everything. They wrote how they had watched me sacrifice everything for them for 12 years. How they never forgot the nights I fell asleep studying at the kitchen table, or the times I wore the same worn shoes for years so they could have new school clothes. They wanted to give back to create a permanent home that could never be taken away. I broke down completely, pulling them into a tight embrace as tears streamed down my face. Never in my life had I felt such overwhelming love and gratitude. These children, who had every reason to be damaged by their mother's abandonment, had instead grown into the most generous, loving people I had ever known. The house was perfect, 3 bedrooms, with a small backyard located just 5 blocks from Lily's high school. They gave me the grand tour, showing off the renovated kitchen, the office space they had designated for my work, and the basement they thought would make a perfect art studio for Max. The moving process became a community event. My coworkers showed up with trucks and pizza. Neighbors from our apartment building helped carry boxes. Even some of the kids' teachers came to lend a hand. A local news reporter who lived down the street heard our story and asked to do a feature. I was hesitant, but the kids thought it might inspire other single parents. The story aired on the evening news, then got picked up by several online platforms. Within days, our story had gone viral with thousands of comments from people moved by the children's gesture. We settled into our new home with a sense of permanence I hadn't felt in years. For the first time, the children could paint their rooms any color they wanted. We planted a vegetable garden in the backyard and adopted a rescue dog they named Rocket. I hosted a housewarming dinner for everyone who had helped us through the years, my parents' close friends and neighbors. Sitting at the head of the table, watching Lily and Max laugh with our guests, I finally felt truly successful. Not because of my career achievements, but because despite everything I had raised children with enormous hearts. Our new beginning was perfect, until the doorbell rang on a Saturday morning 3 weeks after moving in. I opened the door expecting a neighbor or perhaps a package delivery. Instead, I found myself staring into a face I hadn't seen in 12 years. Amanda. She looked dramatically different. Her once auburn hair was now platinum blonde and cut short. Fine lines framed her eyes, and her formerly athletic frame had softened. She wore expensive clothes and clutched a designer handbag. But something in her eyes looked hollow. "Archer," she said simply, as if we had spoken just yesterday. I stood speechless, my mind racing. Behind me, I heard Max drop something in the kitchen, then the sudden silence that told me both children had realized who was at the door. "We need to talk privately," Amanda said, attempting to step inside. I blocked the entrance, instinctively protective of the sanctuary we had created. "Whatever you have to say, you can say here." She sighed dramatically. "I saw your story on Facebook, the house, the kids, your happy little family." Her tone held an edge of bitterness that set off immediate alarm bells. "Jeff left me," she continued, "for his 22-year-old yoga student. Ironic, right? I heard about your promotion at work, and now this house. I spoke with a lawyer yesterday. I'm entitled to half of everything, including that house." The audacity was so shocking I almost laughed. After 12 years of complete absence, after abandoning her children without a backward glance, she believed she deserved half of what we had built from the ashes she left behind. "You have got to be kidding," I finally managed. "Community property state," she said with a smirk. "We were married when you started at that company. Your career advancement stemmed from your time during our marriage. Plus, those are my children too." At that, Lily stepped forward, her teenage frame vibrating with anger. "We are not your children," she said, her voice steady, despite the tears in her eyes. "You gave up that right 12 years ago." Amanda looked momentarily taken aback, then composed herself. You will understand when you're older, sweetie. Adult relationships are complicated. Max had remained frozen in the background, but at Amanda's condescending tone, he stepped forward too. Then he began to hyperventilate a panic attack triggering from the emotional trauma her sudden appearance had caused. As I rushed to comfort him, Amanda watched without emotion, more annoyed than concerned about the son she had abandoned. Her lack of maternal instinct was still painfully evident. You're upsetting my children. You need to leave, I said, firmly guiding Max to the couch while Lily got his inhaler. Your lawyer can contact mine, Amanda replied, dropping a business card on the entry table. But I am not going away. I deserve compensation for everything I went through. Everything you went through, I echoed in disbelief. You abandoned 2 small children without a goodbye. You emptied our bank accounts. You disappeared for 12 years without a single birthday card or child support payment. What exactly do you think you deserve compensation for? She straightened her designer jacket. The emotional damage of an unsatisfying marriage, being pressured into motherhood when I wasn't ready. I lost my youth raising children I never wanted. Behind her, through the still open door, I could see our neighbors watching with undisguised interest. This confrontation was quickly becoming neighborhood spectacle. We will discuss this through our lawyers, I said, firmly closing the door despite her protests. Inside, we spent hours calming Max and addressing Lily's anger. That night, none of us slept well, the ghost of the past having invaded our new beginning. The legal battle that followed was mercifully brief but intensely stressful. I met with our family attorney, Kevin Hamilton, the same day Amanda appeared at our door, bringing all documentation from the original divorce. Kevin reviewed everything carefully, then looked up with reassurance in his eyes. She does not have a case, he said firmly. She abandoned the children, took money that was rightfully jointly owned, and failed to appear at your original divorce proceedings. Furthermore, she has provided no child support for 12 years. No judge will entertain her claims. Despite this reassurance, Amanda persisted. Her lawyer, an aggressive woman who specialized in high-conflict divorces, sent threatening letters almost daily. Amanda began driving by our house, sometimes parking across the street to watch the children come home from school. I had to install security cameras and advise the school of the situation. The children, especially Max, struggled with her sudden reappearance. His panic attacks returned, and he began having nightmares. Lily channeled her feelings into research, spending hours online learning about family law and parental abandonment cases. Her anger became productive, her vulnerability transforming into determination. 3 weeks into this harassment, we finally had our day in court. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, reviewed our case file with careful attention. When Amanda took the stand, she painted herself as a victim, a woman pressured into motherhood who had made a mistake and now regretted her actions. The judge listened impassively, then asked a single devastating question. In the 12 years since you left, how many times did you contact your children? Amanda stuttered. Well, it was complicated. I was figuring things out. A yes or no question, Miss Wallace, the judge pressed. Did you call them, send birthday cards, child support? No, Amanda admitted quietly. When my turn came, I simply presented the facts. The abandoned children, the empty bank accounts, the years of single parenting, and most significantly, the house that had been purchased, primarily with the children's own earned money and my parents' contributions. The judge dismissed Amanda's claims entirely, citing abandonment, failure to pay support, and most importantly, the welfare of the children. She also granted our request for a restraining order, preventing Amanda from coming within 100 yards of our home, the children's, schools, or my workplace. As the gavel came down, Amanda had a public meltdown, screaming that the system was rigged against mothers. Court officers had to escort her from the room as she continued her tirade. Outside the courtroom, Kevin suggested we could pursue back child support, potentially a significant sum given my ex-wife's apparent financial comfort. I considered it briefly, then declined. We do not need or want anything from her, I explained. The kids and I have made it this far on our own. Taking her money now would only keep her in our lives longer. The drive home from court was silent, all of us processing what had happened. That evening we sat in our living room and really talked. I opened the conversation by asking how they were feeling about everything. "I hate her," Lily said bluntly. "Not just for leaving, but for coming back like this. For thinking she deserves anything from us." Max was quieter. "I do not remember her." "Not really," he finally said. "But I have been having these dreams where I am little again, and I am looking for someone who is not there. I think that's about her. My heart broke all over again. I wish I could take away the pain she caused you both." "But then we would not be us," Lily pointed out with wisdom beyond her 15 years. "Everything that happened made us who we are now. I would not change that." We decided to start family therapy to process Amanda's reappearance and the emotions it stirred up. The therapist, Dr. Rivera, helped us navigate our complicated feelings and establish boundaries for moving forward. Gradually, the children found healthy ways to channel their experiences. Lily announced her intention to study family law in college. She wanted to help other children in similar situations. Max began creating a digital comic about a boy superhero raised by a single father working through his feelings through art. Their resilience amazed me daily. Despite this final challenge, or perhaps because of it, they emerged stronger. Lily, confronting her mother in court, had given her a new confidence. Max, after the initial shock, found his voice too expressing feelings, head held inside for years. Our community rallied around us during this difficult time. Neighbors kept watch for Amanda's car. The children's teachers checked in regularly. My boss offered additional flexibility when court appearances disrupted our schedule. As the weeks passed, Amanda eventually stopped her harassment. We heard through mutual acquaintances that she had moved to Florida, apparently giving up her quest for compensation. The restraining order remained in place, a legal boundary to match the emotional one we had established. We created new house rules and traditions to reclaim our space. Friday night became board game night. Sunday mornings were for pancakes in the backyard when weather permitted. We repainted every room, choosing colors that represented new beginnings. That Thanksgiving, our first in the new house, we hosted a large gathering. My parents, several close friends, and neighbors who had become like family joined us. Looking around the crowded table, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. We had not just survived, we had created something beautiful from pain. I have learned so much on this 12-year journey. I learned that family is not defined by biology but by who shows up every day. I learned that children are remarkably resilient when given love and stability. Most importantly, I learned that keeping promises matters, especially to those who have experienced abandonment. The hardship we endured revealed the true strength of our family bonds. My children taught me more about love and forgiveness than I ever taught them. They showed me that wealth is not measured in dollars, but in moments of connection. I have found peace with Amanda's choices. Her absence, while painful, allowed me to build an unbreakable bond with Lily and Max that might not have formed otherwise. I cannot regret a journey that led to such wonderful outcomes despite its difficult beginning. As I watched Lily and Max laughing together over dessert, surrounded by people who genuinely love them, I realized that we are all exactly where we are meant to be. Our story did not follow the traditional path, but it led us to a place of authentic joy and deep connection. What would you have done in my situation? Would you have pursued child support or let go of the past completely? Leave a comment below with your thoughts. If our story touched you, please subscribe to hear more real-life journeys of overcoming challenges. Like and share this video to help other single parents know they are not alone. Thank you for listening. And remember, the family you build can be stronger than the one that broke.